All right, teachers, listen up. In the next few minutes, we're going to break down a simple but really profound secret that could totally transform your classroom. It's all about shifting from constant correction to genuine connection. And it starts with something we think we know how to do, but, well, we often get it wrong: praise.
So, first things first, let's talk about the praise trap. You know that feeling, right? Where you're just stuck in this loop and it feels like all you're doing is putting out fires and correcting kids. We've all been there.
So I want you to ask yourself a question and be really honest. Think about your day today. What did you spend most of your energy on? Were you playing detective looking for bad behavior? Or were you a cheerleader for their successes? It's a tough question, I know, but it's so important.
Now check this out. This quote comes straight from the author. He decided to actually track every single thing he said during a lesson and was just floored by what he found. It was a never-ending stream of, sit down, stop that, be quiet. He realized he was almost never catching them doing something right. I mean, how many of us would find the exact same thing if we tried that?
And here's the kicker. Even when we do try to be positive, we usually fall back on these really generic, kind of weak phrases. Well done. That's good. The author calls them cheap praise because, honestly, when you overuse them, they just become background noise. They feel totally insincere and lose all their power. So, if good job just isn't cutting it, then what does? Let's flip this around and look at the solution. Let's talk about how to give praise that actually works, praise that really lands with students and gets them motivated.
Okay, here's the secret sauce. For praise to really work, it's got to be three things. First, descriptive, so the student knows exactly what they did well. And second and third, it has to be genuine and sincere. They have to feel that you actually mean it. That is what makes a student feel truly seen. So how do we put this into practice? Let's get practical. Here are two super powerful strategies that you can literally start using tomorrow.
Step 1, make them feel it. In this example, oh, it's perfect. See, it's not just, good drawing, Paul. It's specific. You're pointing out the I. You're telling him why it's so impressive. You're actually inviting him to admire his own work. That kind of praise builds real self-esteem.
And now for step 2, take it home. You guys, this is a total game changer. A quick phone call, a short note home talking about something great a student did, it can change their entire attitude. Seriously, sometimes overnight. And what's awesome is that this works especially well for older students or the ones who get embarrassed by public praise. It's a private victory with a huge impact.
All right, so we've got the do's. Now we got to talk about the big don'ts. Let's dive into 4 really common mistakes that can make our best attempts at praise completely backfire.
So here are the 4 big traps we can fall into. Praising something a kid mastered ages ago, trying to give praise when you haven't earned their respect yet, praising a student publicly when they just can't handle that spotlight, and, this is a big one, praising the final product instead of the effort that went into it.
I mean, this analogy just hits the nail on the head, right? Praising a student for a skill they've already mastered feels so condescending. It basically tells them you haven't been paying attention. It feels fake, and it can actually make you lose their respect, not gain it.
So, if you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. Being descriptive is the antidote. It's the fix. When your praise is specific and focused on their effort, you naturally avoid almost all of these traps. It just automatically becomes more real and way more powerful.
Now, praise is a fantastic tool, but it's really just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. There's one secret ingredient underneath it all that makes every single behavior management strategy either sink or swim. After spending 15 years working with some of the most challenging students out there, the author of our source material came to one undeniable conclusion. There is one thing, the one thing without which everything else will eventually fall apart. And that secret is?
That's it. That's the whole game. It's not about the sticker charts. It's not about the fancy reward systems. It's all about the relationship. Everything, and I mean everything, is built on that foundation. Without a real connection, you're just playing defense. With one, you can actually play offense.
And this is exactly why it's so powerful. When you take the time to really know your students, you learn their triggers, you learn their passions, you learn what's going on at home. That knowledge is like a superpower. It lets you get ahead of problems before they even start.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds great in theory, but how do I actually build these relationships, especially with the kids who seem to push everyone away? Well, don't worry, let's get right into the playbook.
Here are 5 killer strategies you can put into action immediately, using record cards, mastering what the author calls dialogue, tapping into their culture, just being present at breaks, and of course, practicing active listening.
Let's start with record cards. We have all been there. You ask a kid, "So what'd you do this weekend?" And you get nothing. Total conversational dead end. But if you use a simple questionnaire at the beginning of the year about their hobbies, favorite music, video games, suddenly you have a goldmine of conversation starters for later.
Next up is what the author calls pointless dialogue, which sounds funny, but it is anything but pointless. These are those little informal chats you have in the hallway or when a student is helping you with an errand. Away from the pressure of the classroom, away from their friends, that is where trust is really built.
And you know what's so amazing about all this? It doesn't take years. The author decided to really focus on these relationships, and he says the change wasn't slow, it was dramatic. Some of his most difficult students, he says, miraculously changed for the better overnight. The payoff is fast, and it is huge.
So really the big idea here is that this whole thing is a win-win. When you focus on building that connection, you are automatically meeting their most basic human needs, the need to feel important and the need to feel like they belong. And when they get that from you, their behavior, their effort, everything starts to change. So, as we wrap this up, I want you to picture one student. You know the one I'm talking about, the one who really pushes your buttons. What is one small step you can take this week to start building that bridge, to start making that connection? Because that one connection might just be the secret you've been looking for.